In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Come on in, take your shoes off, get comfortable, rub your feet on the floor, do whatever it is you do. I'm Jake Johnson, and this is Untethered Live on a Monday night. Monday night is Bible study night, part 2. And tonight, we're breaking off the great first book of Samuel. So if you have your Bibles handy, crack them open to the first book of Samuel, chapter 1, verse 1. That's where we left off. That's where we're picking up. Hey, Margie Allen gets the gold star tonight. She was waiting in line, ready, chomping at the bit, ready to rock and roll, ready to get some word in their head. You know, right through her ear hole. It's gross when you think about it, but that's what we do here. Hey, Kevin Cox. Hey, brother. Hanging with April tonight. That's good. Lisa Reen, hi. Nice to see you. Welcome. Come on in. It's going to be a lovely show tonight. It was a great read last night. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really liked that story. The story of Ruth and Boaz, who is the great-grandfather of David and the great-grandfather of Jesus. And he was quite a good man. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story last night. All is well in the neighborhood. I hope everything is good with you guys. Back to work, finally. Got some hot dogs in my gullet, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm happy. It's good. All things are well. The Lord is great, and you should know that. April is with me, and she looks very sexy tonight, says Kevin. Well, you just calm your little self down there, buddy. Tonight's the wrong night for that, at least for an hour. And then you can go hog wild. Margie says, oh, yeah. It's excellent. You guys happy? Are you having a good night? How's your week? Monday. I know it's blah day, but, you know, might be a good day. Might be everything you ever wanted it to be. Could be. It's a nice day for me. Nice full day. I'm at work until 9:30. I am listening, says Lisa Reen. Well, I'm glad you're here. We lost you last night. I kept expecting you to pop back in, but you never came back. I was missing you. And I felt so lonely and dejected and vulnerable. And where's my Lisa Reen? It's nowhere to be found. So I'm glad you're here. You should feel horrible. I'm just kidding. I understand. Kevin says she's all over me. No complaints here. Oh, all right now. Don't make me have to get the water hose. Separate you two. Keep messing around like that. You keep poking fun at her. She's going to take you seriously, and there'll be a little Kevin running around. Watch yourself. I'm in a unusually zen mood tonight. Calm and relaxed. Ready to do some reading. Had some good conversations. I felt just as lonely, Jake. My internet when I'm home is garbage. I understand. I had to pay a lot to get mine to be worth broadcasting because the first time I got it, I tried to do a podcast and it would just skip. It wouldn't broadcast, and I got to looking, and I had great download speeds, but the upload speed was 5 megs, which is nothing. So I was like, y'all got to do better than that. I'm paying you a lot of money. what can we do here? And I had to get on the phone with Mumbai or whatever it is, wherever it is they do their thing. Certainly not in America. And they said, we'll take care of it, Mr. Johnson. And about 3 days later, I got a new modem in the mail. I brought it in. It's kind of weird looking. Kind of looks like a little white tower, a little round white tower. Plugged it in. And now I got quadruple the upload speed and about the same download speed. So I can download a movie in like 10 minutes. You know, a big movie, like 2 or 3 gigs, couple minutes, no problem. But I can upload just as much, which is important for broadcasting. But that first go round, it was just a few dollars cheaper. The standard price, whatever it is, I can't remember. That was like $49 or something. And I was like, you know, I run a podcast. I can't do my job with this internet. So I bumped it up to $60. So it's about $65 a month now. And I've got all the speed I need. So you might want to look into that. $65 ain't nothing to scratch at, but, you know, if you want good internet, sometimes you got to pay for it. Kevin says, I have been ordered to get cat food. Our cat is a thin 25-pound white girl, and I named her Snowbitch. You have a 25-pound cat? I think you should probably stop feeding it now. My cat weighs like 2.5 pounds. Jesus, that thing must be a butterball. Man, 25-pound cat. That'd make a bunch of sandwiches. I got some bread, too. You might want to send that cat over here. What do you think? I named my cat Sunny because it's orange. But I got like 11 other cats, so I can't keep up with them. So they're all cat. Come here, cat. Boy cat, girl cat, smoky cat, mean cat, sneaky cat, dead cat. You know, you get the idea. She's a big ball of love like you. Oh, yeah, I'm a little prickly, but there's some soft and tender love underneath all that shale. You just got to dig for it a little, that's all. Most people think I'm a misanthrope when they first meet me. And I am. I'm stoic, misanthropic, a little edgy, a little sarcastic, a little wise, but also a little bitey, sharp as a razor blade and serious as a heart attack. A bite like a pit bull. But underneath all of that, it's just nothing but love. And sweet, heart romantic type stuff. But it's way down, buried deep under all that gruff. You know how it is. I'm a man, baby. Bigger than my dog, says Margie. That's a big cat. 25-pound cat, that thing's got to be that big around. ATL, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, the great book of Samuel, chapter 1, verse 1. That's what we're going to get started on in just a couple minutes. Just give everybody a chance to roll in. Who's coming? I usually shoot the breeze about 12 to 15 minutes before I get started. Just so I have some people to read to, because, you know, I don't like talking to myself. I do that all the time. I want it to be special. Like it's your first time. I'll be gentle. What are you guys up to tonight? Anything special? Anything good? And getting into any trouble? I hadn't been in trouble in a while. It's about time. About time to raise some heck. Gosh dang it. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's good to be on the outside looking in. ATL says, nah, same old. Same old, same old. It's just the same old situation. The band. Oh, I hadn't had one of these in a while. Look here. We got ourselves a genuine, bona fide, USDA approved, stamped sports update for Kevin Cox. Kevin says NFL training camp started last week. This week, they begin practice with pads. Also, baseball is at its peak. The Orgasmals from Baltimore are up by 1.5 over the Devil Rays. Go Rays. I swear to God, I got to move that button. I thought I did that already. Go Deviled Egg Raised. Deviled eggs. I like deviled eggs. Those are good. I just boil the egg and eat it with a little salt on it. But my mom and my sister do this thing, or used to do this thing, where they they cut it in half and scoop the stuff out and then mix it all up with some other stuff and then put it back in. It's like a treat. I don't know anything about all that. Walter Davis, good to see you. Good evening. About to have dinner with my mother, sister, and her husband. When food is served, phones are off. I understand. But you know, this is Bible study, so maybe put the phone in the middle of the table and let everybody watch. That way they can all get an education. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Bern? By the way, I've been expecting an email from you because you told me last night you needed to talk to me about something. So when is that coming? I got my email open and ready. I've seen nothing. I am available if you should need to talk. Indoor, talking with spirits. Not yet. Don't give away the ending. Walter says, hi, Jake, ATL, Kevin, Lisa Reen, and Margie. Nice. Nice for everybody to be here. I love this story. Me too. I like the last one too, Ruth. That was a good one. You should have came last night. ATL says, hey, Walter. I figured I would call or text. Well, you'll have to wait till Wednesday to do that because my phone won't be back on until Wednesday. I got to make some money. But when it's on, you're more than welcome. Or if you want to send it in an email, I'll respond that way. However, if you want to video chat privately, we can set that up. That way I can look at you to your face and make this face when you're talking to me. Indoor always reminds me of Star Trek Ewoks. Star Wars Ewoks. Star Trek don't have Ewoks. They have Tribbles and Klingons. But I get you. That's the name Indoor because there's a planet Indoor in Star Wars. Walter says, my sister-in-law, who was a good Christian, is now into witchcraft. At what point is enough enough? At the very moment she went into witchcraft, that was enough. You need to take her the Bible to the place where it says to not suffer witches, where God specifically says to kill the witch and send them to him. Show her that. Let her know that she's on the wrong path. Maybe she'll find her way back. It's never too late. It's never too late to redeem oneself. Even if you're on the bad path, even if you're a complete atheist, your heart might be churning. You might be thinking. You might be trying to find an answer. And when it comes, it can turn your whole life around. You never know what's in somebody's heart. They may be doing stuff out of duress. Maybe an influence of an outside individual causing her to go down that road. But make sure she is informed. She's your sister. You be the kinsman redeemer that we talked about last night and redeem her spirit from the dark one. You can do it. I have faith in you. Just don't get preachy because that'll run her away. ATL says, yes. The Lord of the Rings is about King Solomon. Is it, though? I think it's about Gandalf. But maybe. I have heard some such legends about Solomon's ring and his abilities with it, but I don't know if that's truth or not. I hadn't seen anything in the Bible that corroborates it. Kevin says, hey, ATL, hey, Walter, hey, Margie, hey, John Boy, LOL. John Boy, did we slip back into the 70s? Good night, John Boy. A lot of themes come from King Solomon. I'm sure he was a very smart dude. Walter says, I didn't know that she was into it until recently when her business partner told me he started a coven and a tax-exempt Church of Satan. Asked my wife, and she said her sister was all into it, too. Well, maybe you need to get over there and talk to them. Careful not to get it on you, though, because it's hard to rub off. ATL says, hello, Kevin. All right. It's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, I'm so excited. If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to the great book of Samuel, the first book of Samuel. And let's get after it, shall we? Let's go down here. Book's already open and waiting on me. I'm driving and listening and watching. Hey, 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 much love to everyone, says April. Excellent. ATL says, the Waltons? Yeah, the Waltons. Those satanic churches are about sex cults mainly. Yeah, I've heard them say they don't take it seriously, like they don't actually worship Satan. And I'm like, do you understand what you're doing? You are actually worshiping Satan. That's what he wants you to do, not worship God. Anyway, I've been very close to breaking this guy's skull a few times. He isn't rubbing off on me, says Walter. I hear you, brother. Well, let's see what the great wisdom of Samuel has to say about witchcraft. I'm sure we'll get into that tonight. And it reads, the first book of Samuel, otherwise called the first book of the Kings. Interesting. So there's 3 books of the Kings. Imagine that. Now, there was a certain man from Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim. Say that 3 times. And his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeraham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite from Ephraim. And he had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. Peninnah. I'm going to say Peninnah. Peninnah. It looks like Peninnah. There's a lot of N's in that name. Na-na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children because she was, And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. Keep these guys in your mind because they're going to do some stuff, these priests, these young boys of Eli. They are not nice people. They're like rich kids. They're grown up spoiled in the church, have everything they want. Now they're in the priest position, and they use it. It's not a good look. Be cautious. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah, his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord had shut up her womb. Well, she was his favorite, but she gave him the least amount of children. So he's, it's probably a guilt gift because you can't have babies. But the Lord has a way of unclosing closed wombs. We'll see how this works out. And her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. So whoever it was that was against her was making her feel very bad about not being able to have kids. Probably bullying her a little bit, picking on her about it. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. I mean, this girl's getting anorexia from being bullied. That's not good. Don't treat people like that. You never know why they can't have kids. Easy, adversary lady. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? You're getting kind of skinny, girl. Why are you over there crying? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better to thee than 10 sons? Don't I treat you well? Don't I give you a lot of money, tip money, every morning? Leave you a little tip under your ashtray? Don't I do that? So Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of the Lord. And she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. She was really pouring her heart out to God, asking him for a child and whatever else ails her, probably to poke out the eye of that girl that's picking on her, something like that. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but wilt give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Now this is an allusion to the vow of a Nazarite, not to be confused with a Nazarene, that's somebody from Nazareth, but a Nazarite is a vow taken to God where you take no strong drink, you eat no meat, you never cut your hair, you never shave. You are a pure man of God all the days you're a Nazarite. You fast often. And that's what she's talking about by no razor coming upon his head, kind of like Samson was. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved. Now what does that mean, he marked her mouth? He noticed her praying. And he could read her lips. Or he could tell what she was saying. She was praying in her heart, but her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. And Eli said unto her, How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away the wine from thee. And she's like, I ain't drunk. I'm praying. Back off. She didn't say that. And Hannah answered and said, No, my lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunken neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial. I'm not doing wicked things in the house of the Lord. Don't you treat me like I'm some Satanist, buddy. I'm not into witchcraft. I'm praying to God. You mind your business. But out of the abundance of my complaint and grief, I have spoken hitherto. Don't call me a woman of Satan or Belial. Just understand that I'm going through some stuff right now, and I'm speaking to God. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. So that's two people. There's a prayer and an intercessory prayer, which is important. Wherever two or more are gathered in my name, there I shall also be, says Christ. This is two people asking for the same prayer, and that adds dividends to your prayer power. Trust me on that. I know it sounds silly. It's not a pyramid scheme, but the more people that are praying for the same thing, God's more likely to hear it and abide to it. And she said, Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. She got over it. And they rose up in the morning early and worshipped before the Lord, and returned and came to their house in Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Translation, they making whoopee, and she's getting pregnant. Everybody's getting pregnant. Something like that. Anyway, wherefore it came to pass, when the time was come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son. That'd be 9 months, by the way. Long way of saying that. And called his name Samuel, saying, because I have asked him of the Lord. That's gifted from God or asked of God. That's how you could translate the name Samuel or Samael, if you want to look at it that way. It's Samuel, much like Emmanuel, which is the Son of God, or from the loins of God, or something to that nature. I have asked of the Lord. He's gifted me for my question, the Son from God. That's what Samuel means. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer unto the Lord the yearly sacrifice and his vow, because now they've got to keep the promise that his wife made. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned, and then I will bring him, that he may appear before the Lord, and there abide forever. So she's serious. She's going to wean that baby, spend a little time with it, and then give him to God. So he'll spend the rest of his life working in the convent, as it were. And Elkanah, her husband, said unto her, do what seemeth good to thee, or do what seemeth thee good. Tarry until thou have weaned him. Only the Lord establish his word. So the woman abode and gave her son suck until she weaned him, which is probably a few weeks. I don't know exactly how long that lasts. Seems like it was closer to a couple of months. And then my babies, and then they were on baby food. I don't think they drank milk very long. But however long it takes, women, you know the answer to this better than I do. I was just bringing home the bacon, but I did notice. And when she weaned him, she took him up with her, with 3 bullocks, and 1 ephah of flour, not to be confused with an ephod, which is a vest. An ephah is a container or a measurement, or both. And a bottle of wine, and brought him unto the house of the Lord in Shiloh. And the child was young. I mean, like under a year old young. And they slew a bullock and brought the child to Eli. And she said, O my Lord, as thy soul liveth, my Lord, I am the woman that stood by thee here, praying unto the Lord. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm married to you. I remember. For this child I prayed, and the Lord hath given me my petition which I asked of him. Therefore also I have lent him to the Lord. As long as he liveth, he shall be lent to the Lord. And he worshipped the Lord there. And Hannah prayed and said, my heart rejoiceth in the Lord. Mine horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth is enlarged over mine enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. Hey, Caucasian Sasquatch, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. You look nice, too. Thank you. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God. The stern foundation of God, the rock. Talk no more, so exceedingly proud. Let not arrogance come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken, as they that stumble are girded with strength. He makes low the high, and he makes high the low. They that were full have hired out themselves for bread, and they that were hungry ceased, so that the barren hath borne 7. And she that hath many children is waxed feeble. The Lord killeth, and the Lord maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave, and he bringeth up. He does all those things. The Lord maketh poor, and maketh rich. Don't forget that part. He bringeth low, and he lifteth up. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up. I ain't having a stroke. I can talk. He lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. This is the second time in the Bible that God likens the world unto sitting upon pillars. Interesting that, is it not? Do a little research into ancient cosmology or Hebrew cosmology, and you'll get a better visual description of what he's talking about. Albeit incorrect, it is metaphorically accurate. He will keep the feet of his saints, keep them steady on the ground, make them where they don't slip around. And the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces, and out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. And the Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. Penis. And Elkanah went to Ramah to his house, and the children did minister unto the Lord before Eli the priest. Now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial. They were not good people, even though they held high positions in the Lord's temple. They were not good children. And they knew not the Lord. And the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered a sacrifice, the priest's servants came while the flesh was in seething with a flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand, and he struck it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the flesh hooks brought up, the priests took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came thither. So every time somebody sacrificed, they got a big, healthy portion of it for themselves. They didn't need to eat all that much, but they got it nonetheless. So these guys, when in all reality, they should have only taken what they needed to eat to sustain themselves. They're overdoing it. They don't just do it with the meat, they do it with the money, too, that comes in. We'll read more about that later. These guys are scoundrels. Also, before they burned the fat, the priest's servants came and said to the man that sacrificed, "Give flesh to roast for the priest." You want more? Not just what you took out of the pot, but you want him to give you some of his? For he will not have sodden flesh of thee, but raw. He wants the raw meat before you even cook it. And if any man said unto him, "Let them not fail to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desireth," then he would answer him, "Nay," or "No, but thou shalt give it to me now, and if not, I will take it by force." That's the priests talking. First of all, the protocol for sacrifice is to burn everything. The first 2 books of the Bible, not Genesis, but after that, talk about how to sacrifice, how to prepare the meat, how to lay it upon the altar, how to burn it, and the fat too, all of it, and how to clean, and how to put the guts and the entrails and the dung and all that on the outside of the camp and all that. These guys are not doing any of that. They want their meat with no fat on it. So they're taking the fat off of it and eating it for themselves. And they're saying that if you don't give me what I'm asking for, I'll take it from you. So you won't even be able to sacrifice it. That's not very Christian-like. That's not a good priest. That's a greedy priest. These guys were probably fat, too. Wherefore the sin of the young men were very great before the Lord, for men abhorred the offering of the Lord. The men, the 2 boys. But Samuel ministered before the Lord, being a child, girded with a linen ephod, a linen vest. Not an ephah, an ephod. An ephah is a container or a measurement, an ephod is a vest. Moreover, his mother made him a little coat and brought it to him from year to year when she came up with her husband to offer for the yearly sacrifice. They only saw him once a year? That's horrible. Poor kid, growing up all by himself in a temple. And Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife and said, The Lord give thee seed of this woman for the loan which is lent to the Lord. And they went unto their own home. So she's going to have another baby that she can keep. And the Lord visited Hannah so that she conceived and bare 3 sons and 2 daughters. And the child Samuel grew up before the Lord. So she had 6 children after she was barren for a while. She's probably up there in age. 6 more kids for the price of 1. 5 for the price of 1. That's a pretty good deal. Now, Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women and that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. See, they were taking their power to the next level. They were getting laid left and right. Like all good cults, it always goes back to sex, says ATL. And he said unto them, Why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. You make the Lord's people to transgress. You're causing people to sin. You're becoming a stumbling block. That's not the job of a priest. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them. And so he will. And the child Samuel grew on and was in favor both with the Lord and also with men. Everybody liked him. He had good charm, good charisma. And there came a man of God unto Eli and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? ? Yes, he did. And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priests, to offer upon mine altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? ? Yes, he did. And did I give unto the house of thy fathers all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? ? Yes, he did. He always made sure that the priests got plenty to eat before everybody else got something to eat, because they're doing free work. And it's the people's job to take care of the priest. That's how it works. Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice and at mine offering, which I have commanded in my habitation. And honorest thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Israel, my people. You're taking all the good. You're not leaving anything for God. You're making yourself fat. You're being greedy. You're taking all the choice stuff for yourself. That's not what I put you there to do. Wherefore the Lord God of Israel saith, I said indeed that thy house and the house of thy father should walk before me forever. But now the Lord saith, Be it far from me. For them that honor me I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. That's hard words coming from God. Behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm and the arm of thy father's house, and there shall not be an old man in thine house. You're all going to die. And thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, in all the wealth which God shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever. You will watch as I make Israel rich, and you will stay the same. There will not be an old man in your house. You'll all die young. That's what he's saying. You'll not make it to old age, not one of you, forever. And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from mine altar, shall be to consume thine eyes, and to grieve thine heart. And to all the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of their age. You're all going to die young. You're all going to be miserable. You're all going to see the calamity that befalls your family. You'll feel cursed. That's what's going to happen because of your actions, because of your greed. And this shall be a sign unto thee that shall come upon thy 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they shall die, both of them. And I will raise me up a faithful priest, that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in mine mind. And I will build him a sure house, and he will walk before mine anointed forever. That would be Samuel. Or Christ. Might be Christ, but I think he's talking about Samuel here. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left in thine house shall come and crouch to him for a piece of silver and a morsel of bread, and shall say, Put me, I pray thee, into one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a piece of bread. Let me be a priest, please. I'm starving to death out here. Let me do something so that I can eat. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli, and the word of the Lord was precious in those days. They're precious now, by the way. There was no open vision. That means there were no prophets. Nobody was seeing the future in those days. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place, and his eyes began to wax dim, that he could not see, and ere the lamp of God went out in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was, and Samuel was laid down to sleep, that the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here am I. There's somebody else that said that very same phrase. That would be Abraham. Remember him? Here am I. Who calls me? I'm here. I'm ready to go. This is the equivalent of jumping up with your clothes on and running out the door. You know, that's what he means by here am I. It means I'm ready. I'm ready to work, God. What do you need? And he ran unto Eli and said, Here am I, for thou calledst me. And he said, I calledst not. Lie down again. And he went to lay down. He thought Eli was calling him. He was ready to work, middle of the night, jumped up and ran to Eli because he thought Eli called his name. Wasn't Eli. It was God. So Eli says, I didn't call you. Go back to bed. And he went and laid back down. And the Lord called yet again, Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I. For thou didst call me. I heard you. And he answered and said, I called not, my son. Lie down. Again. Look, dude, I'm not calling you. Samuel's like, yeah, you did. I heard you. You didn't hear me. I'm trying to sleep. That's what you should be doing. Go try to sleep. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him, meaning the revelation of God's words, meaning he understood them at some point. But right now, he doesn't even really know who God is. He just knows that he lives in the temple and he does temple stuff. And one could look at some of the Jews in Israel and see how they function to understand that there's a whole bunch of ritual and not a whole lot of understanding. They just do what they've always done. Bunch of rituals. Now, the scholarly understand the word of God, but it's also a religion. It's a thing you do, right? So Samuel grew up in this place and he does these things, but he hasn't studied the word of God. He hasn't built a personal relationship with God until now, and God's calling on him. What is this saying to you? You need not have ever even cracked the cover of the Bible to be a good person. You don't have to read the Word of God to be a good human being. You don't have to have ever read the Word of God to go to heaven. None of this is necessary to know. All the things that are necessary to know are already in your heart. Be good, be righteous, be humble, love the Lord, love the power that be, that's greater than thyself. That's it. Now, if you want to understand what all that means, you need to read the Bible. If you want to become scholarly in the understanding and actually know what's going on or what has gone on and what will go on, you need to read the Bible a few times. So, it's up to you as to how close you want to get to God. But the closer you get to God, the harder it'll become because the more the devil will want to stop you. So just be aware of that. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time, and he arose and went to Eli and said, "Hey, are you messing with me? Because I know you called me. Here am I." That's what he said. "For thou didst call me." And Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. Eli understood. Oh, it's not me that's calling you. It must be God. Because they're alone, by the way. Good night, ATL. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, "Go, lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth." So Samuel went alone. You'd think Eli would want to be there to listen in, but he wisely told him, and God has also said to go into your closet and close the door. Christ said this, close the door and speak to the Father in private. It's not meant for everybody else. It's not meant to show how pious you are or how you can pray good. Just talk to God in your heart. That's all you got to do. You don't even have to say words. He already knows what's in your mind. Just be open to the communication with God privately between you and God. So Samuel went and laid down in his place, and the Lord came and stood and called as at the other times, "Samuel, Samuel." And then Samuel answered, "Speak, for thy servant heareth." And the Lord said to Samuel, "Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that heareth it shall tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end." This is another way of saying I told the end from the beginning, which is the whole Bible summed up in that sentence. When I begin, I will also make an end. You can also look at this as the year of the Lord, or the entire shebang. God told the beginning, and then he told the end, but he told the end at the beginning, and he told the beginning from the end. It's very loopy that way. It's very crisscrossy, the Bible. It's the only book in existence that can do that, by the way, written over a span of about 4,000 years by many authors that did not know or was not aware of each other. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. He let them go hog wild. He could have reined them in early, but he did not do so. Not very good. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice or offering forever. Meaning they don't get no redemption. They could sacrifice all day long and it won't cover the sins that these boys have done and the fact that their father let them do it. So, see, Eli is a good man, but his kids are not good. And Eli is well aware of the punishment that's coming his way because he knows they have done bad. And Samuel lay until the morning and opened the doors of the house of the Lord, and Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. He didn't want to tell him because he didn't know that Eli already knew. And then Eli called Samuel and said, "Samuel, my son." And he answered, "Here am I." And he said, "This guy, Samuel's always ready to rock and roll, ain't he? He ain't slipping a bit." And he said, "What is the thing that the Lord hath said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, and more so also, and more also. If thou hide anything from me of all the things that he said unto thee." Samuel is a little bit intimidated by Eli, and Eli really wants to know what God told him. So he's kind of bluffing him here. And Samuel told him every whit. He told him all of it and hid nothing from him. And he said, "It is the Lord. Let him do what seemeth him good." I imagine this is all quite news, you know. I imagine that Eli knows he's going to be punished, but I don't know if he knows everything that he told Samuel. But now he does. And as a good man of God, he accepts that judgment. Let God do what seems good to God, because he's God. And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. People heard him when he spoke. There was no words wasted. When he said something, it mattered, and people listened. And all Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. He spoke to God directly. There's not a lot of people can say that in the Bible. This is a very small club. And the Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. What does that mean? That means he told him all of the words of God, the words that matter, the Ten Commandments, all the different rules and regulations, all the words of Jesus, all the words of Revelations. He gave Samuel foresight. He gave him the understanding of the word of God. And the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out against the Philistines to battle, and pitched beside Ebenezer. And the Philistines pitched in Aphek. And the Philistines put themselves in array against Israel. And when they joined battle, Israel was smitten before the Philistines, and they slew of the army of the field about 4,000 men. So not a good battle. The Philistines were using giants, by the way. That's one reason they were winning so much. And they were not good people either, but they were tearing up some folks. And when the people were come into the camp, the elders of Israel said, "Wherefore hath the Lord smitten us today before the Philistines? Why is God letting this happen? Let us fetch the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of Shiloh unto us." Big mistake. That when it cometh among us, it may save us out of the hand of our enemies. Well, here's the problem with that. You don't go fetch the ark of the covenant and use it as a weapon. You wait until God tells you to go to battle, and then you march with it in the front. You walk behind it. It leads you, not the other way around. When you take it upon yourself to go into battle, you're going to lose, because God doesn't like that mess. But when God tells you to go into battle, there's a reason for it. There's a necessity there. It has to be done. God's already worked it out, and it needs to happen, and he does the fighting. You just show up. He does the work, and you win. That's how it works. The Ark of the Covenant is a symbol of God's connection with man, with Israel specifically. God tells you to take the ark. You don't go get it. So that's a big mistake on their part. So the people sent to Shiloh, that they might bring from thence the ark of the covenant of the Lord of his hosts, which dwelleth between the cherubims. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God. Imagine that. And when the ark of the covenant of the Lord came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that the earth rang again, echoing. They shouted so loud that it echoed. And when the Philistines heard the noise of the shout, they said, "What meaneth the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews?" And they understood that the ark of the Lord was come into the camp. And the Philistines were afraid, and rightly so. They've heard of this ark before. They've heard of what the armies that bore it did. They conquered all of Canaan with just a few hundred men, a few thousand men, but still. For they said, "God is come into the camp." And they said, "Woe unto us, for there hath not been such a thing heretofore." We haven't had this problem yet. It's going to be rough. "Woe unto us! Who shall deliver us out of the hand of these mighty gods?" There's only one God. "These are the gods that smote the Egyptians with all the plagues in the wilderness." Oh yeah, we know who you are. "Be strong and quit yourselves like men. Get a hold of yourselves, O ye Philistines, that ye be not servants unto the Hebrews, as they have been unto you. Quit yourselves like men and fight. Gird your loins, stand up tall, and run head first into what scares you. Be a man about it. Quit whining like a baby. Get out there and fight. And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten. That ark meant nothing to this battle. Why? Because God did not ordain it. That's why. And they fled every man into his tent, and there was a very great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen. And the ark of God was taken, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were killed. They were slain. Both in one day they died, just like God had said earlier. And now the Philistines have the Ark of the Covenant. Imagine that. That's what happens when you go fetch the Ark. That's what happens when you take it upon yourself to battle, to hurt people, to cause war that isn't fruitful, that isn't righteous, that isn't the indignation of God. And there ran a man of Benjamin out of the army, and came to Shiloh the same day with his clothes rent or torn, and with earth upon his head to signify that he was in mourning. That's what they did. They'd put ashes or dirt upon the top of their head. And you ever seen on Ash Wednesday when they put ashes in the form of a cross on their forehead and walk around like morons? It's supposed to be a symbol of this, which is a Hebrew way of depicting mourning. Now we just put black clothes on and hold our heads down and wear sunglasses. But in those days, they ripped their clothes and put dirt on their head. Anyway, and when he came, lo, Eli sat upon a seat by the wayside, watching, for his heart trembled for the ark of God. And when the man came into the city and told it, all the city cried out. Why? Because they knew they had lost the Ark of the Covenant, and Eli knew that he had lost his sons. Because remember, he told Samuel, the prophet, that both of them would die in that single day, and this was that day. And when Eli heard the noise of the crying, he said, What meaneth the noise of this tumult? And the man came in hastily and told Eli. And now Eli was 98 years old, and his eyes were dim that he could not see. And the man said unto Eli, I am he that came out of the army, and I fled today out of the army. And he said, What is there done, my son? And the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled from before the Philistines, and there hath been also a great slaughter among the people, and thy two sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God is taken. Well, I imagine that broke Eli's heart. And it came to pass, when he made mention of the ark of God, that he fell from off the seat backwards by the side of the gate, and his neck broke, and he died. For he was an old man and heavy, and he had judged Israel for 40 years. All three of them died in one day. That's the judgment of God. That's what happens when you go a-whoring around and taking advantage of the power that God gives you. That's what happens. Humble yourself before the Lord. Let him know that you are the obeisant, that you are the servant, and he is the king, and let him make the decisions for your life. And that is the only way you can avoid this kind of calamity. And his daughter-in-law, Phinehas' wife, was with child, near to be delivered. And when she heard the tidings that the ark of God was taken, that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed herself in travailed, for her pains came upon her. She went into labor immediately. And about the time of her death, the woman that stood by her said unto her, Fear not, for thou hast borne a son. But she answered not, neither did she regard it. She was dead. So she died right there, giving birth to that wretched man's son. That's 4 of that family dead now. Remember God's prophet saying that there will be no old men in the house forever. They will all die young from this point forward. And she named the child Ichabod, saying, One day they're going to write a book about you and a headless horseman. No, she didn't say that. I'm sorry. She named the child Ichabod, saying, "The glory is departed from Israel because of the ark of the God was taken, and because of her father-in-law and her husband." And she said, "The glory is departed from Israel, for the ark of God is taken." I feel like I've read this before. And the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon, a statue of Dagon. Dagon is the fish god. It's where the idea of the mermen and the mermaids come from. It's that religion that goes way back before Greek mythology, before the sirens of the ocean and all of that. Goes back to Dagon. And Dagon is not a good god. Now, and when they of Ashdod arose early in the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord. They put the ark in Dagon's temple next to a statue of Dagon, and when they got up the next morning, Dagon's statue was bowing to the ark of the covenant. That's God saying, "You done messed up now. You done effed around and found out." So they took Dagon and set him in his place again, set him back up. Probably wasn't a very heavy statue. It was probably made of granite or some such, probably life-sized or maybe a little taller. But it was big enough that it didn't just fall over. They understood that. And when they rose up early on the morrow morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold, and only the stump of Dagon was left to him. So this time when it fell, his hands and his head fell and rolled out the door. They're laying on the ground outside, and only the torso and legs of Dagon is left, laying before the Ark of the Covenant. This is a powerful message to people who believe in Dagon. They are freaking out right now because they've heard the stories. They know what the Ark of the Covenant means to the Israelites, and they know that it was present in all the battles that they won, and they've heard these stories. They don't believe in that God, but they've heard the stories, and they're kind of worried about it. That's why they took it, thinking that they'd get the upper hand or that they'd learn some secret. They're going to learn some secret, all right. But the hand of the Lord was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods, or hemorrhoids, in case you don't know what an emerald is. They got hemorrhoids. Tell me God doesn't have a sense of humor. Even Ashdod and the coasts thereof. Everybody got hemorrhoids. Everybody was scratching and clawing and hurting and wanting some preparation H pretty bad. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, "The ark of God, or the ark of the God of Israel, shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us and upon Dagon our God," lowercase g. Well, first of all, your Dagon might think he's a god, but he's not. He's a statue, and he has no power. He died like a man years and years and years and years ago, and you're just living off of the memory of something that no longer exists because God judged him. There's a psalm that talks about this, and there's some... You have to read Hebrew to get it. It doesn't translate very well into English. But in the Bible, there's a word called Elohim, which means spiritual being, and it's plural. It means all of them. All gods are Elohim, but not all Elohim is God, if that makes any sense. You are an Elohim when you're in spiritual form. You're one of them. You're the host. God created all souls, and he created all entities and all beings, including these groups of people that he once set up over groups of people so that they could rule their sections of it. This is called the divine council, talked about in Revelations. And he said to them, "I have made you gods over men, but you screwed it up so bad." I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact phrase, but you messed it up so bad that now I'm going to judge you, and you will die like men. Though you're gods, you'll die like men. Now, this word God, that's our word. The word in the Bible is Elohim, right? We translate that, or El, or Ha or Ah or Yahweh. We all translate all of that to Lord or God, but the word God does not exist in Hebrew. It's Elohim. It's talking about the spiritual beings that were set up over men before all of this stuff, before the flood. I don't know exactly when this occurred, but at some point before God took over, before he met Abraham and became the God of Israel, there was a divine council of gods, I'm using the word lowercase g, that were over groups of men. They weren't nations at that time because all the continents were together, but they were nations of peoples, groups of peoples that these gods were over, Dagon being one, Ashtaroth, Molech, on and on and on and on. But these are so bad. These are the entities that fell with Satan, you understand? These are bad, bad, bad entities. And God judged them all, and they're all dead. Now their spirits or their ideas live on, but they are no longer in operation. And then God became the only God, and that's where the Ten Commandments, that's why the first commandment is, there shall be no other gods before me. I am the Lord thy God, period. This other thing is over. It's not going to be that way anymore. I'm God, period. I know this is hard to swallow because we call ourselves monotheists, yet we believe in the Holy Spirit and the Father and the Son. That's three, not one. But at one time on earth, there were many Elohim. Now there's one God. There always has been one God. He's the creator of all things, even them. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them and said, What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And they answered, Let the ark of the God of Israel be carried out unto Gath. And they carried the ark of God of Israel about thither. Now, it was so, that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord was against the city with a very great destruction, and he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had emerods in their secret parts. They had severe hemorrhoids. Anus. Therefore they sent the ark of God to Ekron, and it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, They have brought about the ark of the God of Israel to us, to slay us and our people. Yeah, you're going down too, buddy. You can't have the ark. It goes to Israel. And you better be nice when you bring it. And you better bring some gifts with you when you come. And you better walk humbly when you bring it home. That's what you need to do. See if they do. See if they learn. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines and said, Send away the ark of the God of Israel, and let it go again to his own place, that it slay us not and our people. For there was a deadly destruction throughout all the city, and the hand of God was very heavy there. So the lords of the Philistines are learning. That's good. That's a good sign. You're getting the idea. And the men that died not were smitten with the emerods, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. And God's up there laughing his tail off, I would imagine. And the ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines for 7 months. And in 7 months, all they managed to do is die and get hemorrhoids and be terrified. And the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners. What's a diviner, you may ask? Kind of like a warlock, somebody that can tell you where water is in the ground, or somebody that can pull out information from somebody. A diviner, kind of like a psychic or a magi. Yes, they had those in those days, along with the priests. The Philistines called for the priests and the diviners, saying, What shall we do to the ark of the Lord? Tell us wherewith we shall send it to his place. They want anybody to answer them. Just call everybody that's got any kind of gift, bring them here, and somebody tell me what to do with this thing, because it ain't staying here. And they said, If you send away the ark of the God of Israel, send it not empty, but in any wise return him a trespass offering. Send gifts. Then ye shall be healed, and it shall be known to you why his hand is not removed from you. In other words, you'll understand why God has been whipping your tail since you've had this thing. So, when you send it home, send some stuff with it, Show a little obeisance to the real God. Then said they, What shall be the trespass offering which we shall return to him? Gold would be good. Money is always a good thing. And they answered, 5 golden emerods. Tell me God don't have a sense of humor. 5 golden hemorrhoids and 5 golden mice, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines. For one plague was on you all and on your lords. Send a hefty amount of gold in these particular shapes. Rats and emerods. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen an emerald. I couldn't imagine shaping that into a gold bar, but I would imagine it'd be worth a little if you got it. You know what I'm saying? But think about it. Emerods and rats. That's what he says send with them. So they're getting the message that they are dirty little rats, and this is God. So pay up now that you've had my ark for 7 months. And, according to the number of all the lords of the Philistines, each one of you give that many. So that's a nice wagon full of gold by the time they're sending this thing home. I think the Israelites are going to make out like bandits in this deal. Wherefore ye shall make images of your emerods and images of your mice that mar the land, and ye shall give glory unto the God of Israel. Peradventure he will lighten his hand from off you, and from off your gods, lowercase g, and from off your land. Do you know how to make an image of something? You make a cast of it, and then you pour molten gold into it. Do you understand what he's telling them to do? They have to humiliate themselves by making casts of their anuses and their emerods, or hemorrhoids, and then make golden images of them to send to Israel. And then the rats, which are probably pretty big, probably wharf rats or some such, of gold, their likenesses. Think about that. God is purely punishing these people in a bad way. Wherefore then do ye harden your hearts as the Egyptians and the Pharaohs hardened their hearts. And when he had wrought wonderfully among them, or terribly among them, that word wonderfully is descriptive of the bad way of wonderful, like awesome. When he wrought awesomely among them, did they not let the people go? And they departed. And this guy's thinking, yeah, I don't want to do that because all them people died when they hardened their hearts. So I'm gonna heed your warning here. Now, therefore, make a new cart and take 2 milk kine, or female cows, on which there hath come no yoke, and tie the kine to the cart, and bring their calves home from them, and take the ark of the Lord, and lay it upon the cart, and put the jewels of gold, which ye return him for a trespass offering, in a coffer by the side thereof, and send it away that it may go. You don't even have to go with it. The cows know where to go. And see, if it goeth up by the way of his own coast, Bethshemesh, then he hath done us this great evil. But if not, in other words, if it don't work, the cows won't go where they're supposed to, and we'll know we're damned. But if it does work, then we shall know that it is not his hand that smote us, and it was a chance that happened to us. So what they're saying is, just tie these cows who have never pulled a cart before to this cart with the Ark of the Covenant and all the gold in it, laying off to the side, not touching the Ark of the Covenant, being respectful of the space of the Ark. And then let them go. And if they go straight back to the Israelites, we'll know that God was the one punishing us. But if they just do what cows do and wander off into the field or whatever, then we'll know this is just happenstance and that we're getting worked up over nothing and that's just a box. Guess where the cows end up? And the men did so and took the 2 milk cows, and tied them to a cart and shut up their calves at home, meaning they don't know where their young are. And they laid the ark of the Lord upon the cart and the coffer with the mice of gold and the images of their emerods. And the kine took the straight way to the way of Bethshemesh, and went along the highway, lowering as they went, making lots of noise as they went. And turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. They didn't even stop to eat. They walked straight to Israel. And the lords of the Philistines went after them unto the border of Bethshemesh. They didn't cross the border, though. And they of Bethshemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley, and they lifted up their eyes and saw the ark and rejoiced to see it. So imagine these guys walking behind these cows that are walking straight to Israel, having never been there before or having ever carried a cart before, walking in unison and singing the whole way. And along the street sides, people are shouting and raising their hands and rejoicing that the return of this thing is coming. And these Philistines are looking like, oh my God, what have we gotten ourselves into? Jesus. And he says, yes, that's right. And the cart came into the field of Joshua, a Bethshemite, and stood there. Now Joshua is a good man of God. Let's see what happens. They stood there where there was a great stone, and they clave the wood of the cart and offered the kine a burnt offering unto the Lord. So when the cows got there, they stopped by this rock. And the men came out and busted up the cart, took the Ark of the Covenant back to the temple, busted up the cart and made a fire with it, and killed the cows that brought it and offered them to God, while these lords of the Philistines look on watching. That's what they did with the cows that came straight to them. Terrifying if you're not a follower of God. And the Levites took down the ark of the Lord and the coffer that was with it, wherewith the jewels of the gold were, and put them on a great stone. And the men of Bethshemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrificed sacrifices the same day unto the Lord. And when the 5 lords of the Philistines had seen, they returned to Ekron the same day with a quickness. They didn't stick around. I wonder why. And these are the golden emerods which the Philistines returned for a trespass offering unto the Lord. For Ashdod 1, for Gaza 1, for Ashkelon 1, for Gath 1, for Ekron 1. And the golden mice, according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines belonging to the 5 lords, both of fenced cities and of country villages, even unto the great stone of Abel, whereon they set down the ark of the Lord. That's where the ark was. The stone of Abel, the brother of Cain. You follow me? Which stone remaineth unto this day in the field of Joshua the Bethshemite. And he smote the men of Bethshemesh, because they had looked into the ark of the Lord. Even he smote of the people 50,000 and 70 men. And the people lamented, because the Lord had smitten many of the people with a great slaughter. And the men of Bethshemesh said, who is able to stand before this holy Lord God? Nobody. The answer is nobody. And to whom shall he go up from us? That they sent messengers to the inhabitants of the Kirjath-jearim, saying, the Philistines have brought again the ark of the Lord. Come ye down and fetch it up to you. Now, what does all that just mean? Well, notice the cows came, right? And they stopped at the stone of Abel. And the men of Bethshemesh came and took the Ark of the Covenant. They're not supposed to touch the Ark of the Covenant, remember? Only Levites can touch the Ark of the Covenant. These are not Levitical people. These are people of Ephraim. They shouldn't be touching the Ark. yet they did. And all of them died, by the way. That's the great slaughter we just talked about. They did sacrifice the cattle, and they did, I guess, put the gold on that rock. There's some discrepancy here as to whether they kept it or they burned it with the sacrifices. I don't know. But all of the people that were involved in it died. A great slaughter. Many thousands. 50,000, 70, that's 20, 40, 60, and 10 men. That's 50,070 men died because they touched the Ark of the Covenant and they looked inside to see what was in there. Now, I can tell you what's in there. There's a bowl that used to contain manna. There's a stick that used to be the rod of Aaron, and there's the 10 Commandment tablets. That's all that's in the Ark of the Covenant. There's no power. There's no magic. It's just a box. It's a golden box, but it's just a box. The lid is where the magic happens, because the lid is set atop 2 cherubims, 2 wings touching and 2 wings stretched out, like a chair. And that chair is where God himself comes to sit upon that mercy seat of the throne of God on earth. That's what that thing is. It's the throne of God. He sits there when he comes to talk to man. And therefore, only the Levitical priests, Aaron's offspring, Moses' offspring, can touch it. Nobody else can touch it. If they touch it, they die. It's not a power. It's a matter of loyalty. It's a matter of doing what you're told, obedience. God said don't. Don't look at it. Don't touch it. Don't taste it. Don't smell it. Stay away from it. Walk behind it several paces. Give it its space. But the Levites have to tote it. So the Philistines have brought again the ark of the Lord. Come ye down and fetch it up. Please, dear God, somebody come get this thing. Bring the Levites and come get this thing. And the men of Kirjath-jearim came and fetched up the ark of the Lord and brought it into the house of Abinadab, not Aminadab, Abinadab, in the hill, and sanctified Eleazar his son to keep the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, while the ark abode in Kirjath-jearim, that the same was long, for it was 20 years. And all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. They all sought God, but could not find him. He was gone. Why? Well, because his ark is hiding in Eleazar's house, Eleazar's son's house. Now, Eleazar is the son of Abinadab, so it's Eleazar who is keeping it. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, If ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. Now this is a somber yet poignant warning. Put away your strange gods. Return to God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your might. Return to God and worship him only. If you'll do that, he'll deliver you. But you have to do that. And put away Ashtaroth and all the other strange gods, the ones you invented. Ashtaroth is a real one, but they invented some too. But if you'll do that, he'll deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the children of Israel did put away Baalim and Ashtaroth and served the Lord only. And Samuel said, Gather all Israel to Mizpeh, which is where they would go annually to sacrifice. And I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpeh and drew water and poured it out before the Lord and fasted on that day and said there, We have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpeh. And that's where we're going to stop for today, boys and girls. We'll pick up next Sunday at 8 p.m. sharp 1 Samuel 7:7. Man, what a fantastic and intense read. I hope that touched your heart. I hope you learned a lot. I hope it brought you closer to your Father God. I hope it caused you to want to reach out and build a relationship with the Creator of all things and find out where you stand in the nature of everything. You're going to have to do that eventually. At some point in your life, you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that you are created. That means there's a Creator, and you are owing Him some of your time. You are beholden to Him. So I hope this has helped you do that. Won't you please do me a favor while you're pondering that and hit that subscribe button. Press the bell icon to get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's effortless. It's right in front of you, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms and helps us get recommended to other people. So won't you do that, please? Share this video with people you love. Better yet, share with people you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Leave comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I really want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to be part of that, or if you feel led to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings, or if you just like to pat me on the back and say, hey, good job, Jake. I see what you're doing here. You can do that. You can support my work by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you're a CashApp user, you can go to $jakejohnsonband. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. But it's a blessing to you too, because we live in a reciprocal universe, and God, He notices these things. Now, I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support and answer all of your questions and comments, just as I'm about to right now. All right. What did you think? Questions, criticisms, controversies, thoughts, cathedrals, catharses, catalogs. 10 points to the person who can tell me the town that Samuel was from. And all you have to do is type it. You don't have to say it. But don't look. See if you can remember. Anybody got any questions? Let me see what I missed in the chat. Two books of Samuel, says ATL. Yes. April says, everybody hit that like button. Thank you. I appreciate the love and support. Thank you, April. Much love, Walter. ATL says, you need to make sounds from your throat more when you say the names. Why? I don't speak Hebrew. I speak English. Would it make me sound more like I know what I'm talking about if I said, I don't think so. But I get what you're saying. Like the letter. April says, oops, accident, sorry. Grace. Hannah is Grace. Thank you. Women are always nagging. Not always. Most of them, though. I agree with you there. A minion? A minion? You just throw words at me. I don't even know what you mean. For a proper minion, I think it is 10 for a prayer. Maybe. L. Yep, ATL's on the money. Caucasian says, hello, my beautiful people. Hello, Caucasian. I hope you're still here. April. April says, hello, Caucasian love. Good to see you. Much love. ATL says, always a good show. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Good night, everybody. He cometh and he winneth. And I didn't even get to talk to him. Hello, Caucasian Sasquatch, says ATL. April says, wow. Good night. ATL, much love. Kevin says, hey, Sasquatcho. Margie says, he hath shown thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Wise words, Margie. Wise words. April says, hello, welcome back, Kevin. Hello, Margie. Hugs and lots of love. And a new name, The Rock. Not The Rock, The Rock. A Rock. Could be The Rock. I don't know. He says, yes, sir. Thank you, Rock, and welcome to the show. I hope you decided to subscribe and stick around. Margie says, thank you, April. Best wishes to you and Kevin. April says, hello, The Rock. Good to see you. I can't do it. I look retarded when I try to raise one eyebrow. Yeah, whatever. Amen, says April. Yes, there were really mermaids, etc. Wow, yes, there really were something. I don't know if it were mermaids, but there was something in those days. There were a lot of weird things in those days, especially pre-flood. A lot of that changed after the flood, but before the flood, there was some strange stuff afoot. Amen. Yes, indeed, says April. Margie says, Soddy Daisy. Soddy Daisy? Soddy Daisy. I'm baffled. I find thyself speechless. What does Soddy Daisy mean? Enlighten me. I'm curious. I want to know. I have an inquiring mind and really active eyebrows. Love Mountain Dew. I hope you guys had a good time tonight. You don't seem to be firing back a lot, so maybe I bored you to tears, but I hope not. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it means something to you, because I'm working my tail off over here for your benefit. Least you could do is show a little appreciation and clap or whatever. I'm just teasing. Do whatever you do. I'm just teasing. Relax. I would gladly do it endlessly if I could, but alas, I have to survive too, so, sometimes I can't. I got to go elsewhere. But I'll be back regularly on a schedule, and you will be here too, because you're all good people of God, and we're building a community. It's important, and it needs to be done, because the world has fallen very far from what it used to be, and along with that, the attendance of church is just about diminished. Now, I have no desire to be in a church myself. I'm one of the people that diminished it. But I see the value in the need for a church. I see the value in the need to understand the Word of God, whether you're in church or otherwise. That's why I provide this. It's a little bit funny. It's a little bit irreverent. It's a little bit smoky, but it tells the truth, and that's what's important. And to the best of my knowledge, to the best of my ability, and I could be wrong at times. Don't think I am, but I could be. And if you find that I am, point it out, because I do not want to say things that are incorrect. I want to be right for you. So help me do that. Sorry, Daisy, you asked where. Yeah, that's not in the Bible. Just joking. What's not in the Bible? I'm lost. I have no idea what we're talking about. You asked where. I'm not sure what. I'm lost. You have to be more specific. Spell it out for me. Sometimes I can't read between the lines. I'll try. I do pretty good at it. I read typo-e's pretty well. But sometimes I get lost. This chat's moving like crazy, and I'm trying to read, and I can't hardly see this to start with. So sometimes I get lost. Sometimes I read other people's chats and attribute them to the wrong person. Sometimes that's happened. MVTV, are you listening? You told me you'd be listening. Did you guys enjoy the read tonight? Did you learn anything? Did you find out anything? Do you feel like you've accomplished something? Does your brain feel like mayonnaise? See, MVTV is listening. Never know who's lurking out there. I figured you were in the back. How you doing, buddy? Good work, by the way, with your animations, your stop motion. That's pretty sweet. I hope you made sense of that text I sent you about how to make that better, but maybe you can get into that. You might not have the equipment to do it, but if you don't, let me know and I'll send you something. I do have a green screen or two laying around. I'd rather somebody just an off-the-wall location. Bad joke. Gotcha. I didn't get it. I'm sorry. So I'm not always Johnny on the spot, but I try. Sometimes you got to beat me over the head with it because I've got my mind on so many other things that sometimes I don't see what's right in front of me. Yep. All hack effort, but thanks for the watching. Did have signed a cease and desist order to the Ray Harryhausen. Are you trying to say Ray Harryhausen? Family, though. Yeah. Harryhausen. Ray Harryhausen, in case you didn't know, is the guy made famous by movies like Clash of the Titans and that sort of thing. He was a very popular stop-motion animator, and that's an off-color joke, by the way. Ray Harryhausen. Very, very good movies from the old days. I meant I had to sign one. Yeah, you had to sign a cease and desist from Ray Harryhausen. I got you because of the stop motion. You made whatever that was look creepy, though. Kudos. I just wish that the bush beside it wasn't changing colors and moving around and skip in time with the animation, which is why I suggested filming it separately on a green screen and then removing the green screen and then placing it on top of a film of the location in the right spot. You can move it around until it looks right. That might make it better. Ray Harryhausen, I messed that one up. Yes, I got you. I know who you're talking about. I got you. You think I didn't know who Ray Harryhausen was, but I watched TV in the 80s. Clash of the Titans was one of my favorite movies as a child. And he did quite a few other ones too, but I can't think of the names of them. Oh, Sinbad was one. Sinbad of the Seven Seas. Yeah, but at that point, it's so clearly a hack that it almost adds to the charm. I understand. I'd go nuts trying to make it even B-movie quality. Well, I could help you with it if you could do the animation. I could do the splicing for you. I'm pretty good at that sort of thing. Can't tell it here because it's just my face on a screen, but I actually have some editing experience. I'd be glad to help out. You may have recognized it. A horse skull. I knew it was some kind of skull, or I thought it was, but I wasn't sure what it was. Had a painted bug eyes. The legs were last year's sunflower stalks supported with wire. Well, they looked like spider legs, and it was very good. In case you guys don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about a movie that MVTV made called The Thing. Parenthetically, in the tall grass. You should watch it if you get a chance. Why don't you drop a link there, MVTV, and let people see it if you got it finished. Or if you got something you want them to see. The Thing in the Tall Grass, thanks. Yes, sir. Cowboys 8-panel, what's up? I sensed that you guys come in for the last part of the show, but not so much the first part. Hey, MVTV, we might be related. Bad jokes. Says Margie. Margie, MVTV, Margie. Another loyal customer. Good friend of the show. Family, even. Family, even. Exit stage left. How are you, cowboys? All good in your neighborhood? I hope. Howdy. MVDV says, Margie Allen. Well, my middle name is Allen. Nah, understood. Hey, Cowboys 8-panel. I got a little Allen in me. That didn't sound right, but you got the point. That didn't sound right either. Stop it. That's a bad joke. Wow. I feel like we just got started and it's already time to go. Anybody got any questions or comments before it's over? Now would be the time. April? April? I'm talking to you. She's busy eating, probably. Cowboy, been doing good? Been taking care of the stuff? Doing the things? Wrangling the, It's a lovely evening. I can hear the crickets chirping in the background. I don't know if you can hear that or not because I got a noise suppressor on, but it's quite lovely. Reminds me of the old days when the crickets were so loud that's all you could hear. I'm good, thanks. You're welcome. My pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the read if you got a chance to listen to it. If not, I hope you hit the rewind button and check it out. It's quite exhilarating. You hear the crickets? Cool. They're quite loud tonight. Let me see if I can make it louder and turn my noise suppressor off. Now you probably hear my air conditioner. Anyway, you know what a cricket sounds like. That's hammock sleeping weather right there. I got some storms out there, but nothing too threatening. Not like last night with near tornado winds. Hardest I ever saw. Wow. Bet you wish you could have pulled all your plants inside. There are a few now, yes, sadly. Or they are few now. Well, right now, but they'll get there. They're not going away anytime soon. But I love on a hot summer night with everything outside live and making that sound that night makes. Just go out and lay in the hammock and just watch the moon as you gently rock back and forth and listen to the crickets. Man, that's peace right there. I don't even drink beer, but that's cold beer drinking weather right there. Have a cold Mountain Dew and sit back and smoke a cigarette and listen. Lovely. Blew a 1922 500-pound windmill rotor off the barn, knocked over a line of corn, but not bad, and kicked over a tomato plant, but all is good. If hail had come, that would have been the end. Did you just put out a message and then retract it? I saw it and then it disappeared. I didn't get a chance to read it. You bug-proof hammock? No, I don't bug-proof the hammock. No, I get eat up by mosquitoes, but it's still peaceful. I don't know how real farmers handle it. Well, I'll tell you how real farmers handle it. Their crops die, and they get subsidized by the government, and they chop it all up and take it and drop it in a silo, and then they chop it up and make dog food out of it. That's how they handle it. I've seen buku. I live around a bunch of fields, and all the time have a hot day or a rainy day, and they just kill the crops. They're just dead. They just come out and mow them down and start over. But they're big combines. I even worked for a farmer for a little while, driving a corn truck, a big 17-speed Mack truck. I did that for a little while. Plus, they have about 4,000 more crops, so some are expendable. Yeah, they just mow them down. They just start over. One good hot day will murder a crop. It really will. I've seen it happen a bunch. They don't get enough water. If it gets too dry, or if it gets too humid, or if it gets too wet. Any number of things. It gets too cold, have a frost. It's all dead. Just start over. And then they get a check from the government for their efforts. I don't know how they set that up, but that's how it works. I imagine if you find one of those stations where the trucks go, just follow one of them one day and watch them. They'll pull up to a way station, and then they'll dump their truck into a grate. Just go in there and talk to the people that are in that building, and they'll tell you how to handle all that. Because I'm sure they do it every day. Passing Buckshot's ranch today, I just gawked at his tractors. He has 3 to 4 big John Deeres and a ton of working toys. Doubt I could start one, though. Well, maybe if you ask for the key, it might be a start. But if you keep going the way you're going, all those fields I see at your house, all that tall grass, could have crops on it. You could just be a genuine farmer yourself. Get one of them big checks from the government, go buy you a combine and make you some money. You know, those combines cost like $1 million. Some of them are even more expensive than that. I got to ride in a top-of-the-line, like $5 million one, made by Casey. It was all computerized and it had monitors like the Starship Enterprise. Practically drove itself with GPS. It was cool and also creepy. That big something else. Yeah, says Cowboys 8-panel. Here it is. MVTV says, sure, they cost a lot of money, too. Yeah, it was chest high, mix of grass and alfalfa until the tractor mowers came about 2 hours later. It was a golf course. And that's all yours. You can plant it all. I guess. I mean, who else is using it? Farm, says Cowboys 8-panel. That's what you do, ain't it? Or did do. I think you told me what you did, but I seem to have forgotten. I tried to contain myself, but I have escaped. No. Well, that does it. Dagnabbit. Tarnation. Seems like you told me you did something in a school or some kind of building. Maybe nurse. I can't remember. Anyway. I have about 80 acres available in the creek bottom and 30 more in the foothills above. Well, I don't know how good foothills grow, but flatlands are pretty nice for crops. Gardening with ants. Okay. Well, that's farming. Ants are animals. Sort of. I got 12 cats. I live on a farm. A little farm. I got 1 acre. Maybe 1.5 acres. Not quite 2 acres. And I ain't giving it up. They don't make land anymore. It's mine. I'm keeping it. If I have to pitch a tent outside and burn the house down, I'm keeping it. Dry food only, you said. Yeah, I feed them dry food, yep. But I also feed them table scraps, so they get a little bit here and there. But a dry food bag is reasonably cheap, so I just go with that. They seem to like it, so. Sometimes I put a little water in it, make it soggy like cereal. They like that too. Hills are all old wheat or oat fields, but like 80 years ago. Now native grasses with 90 years of old equipment abandoned in place, and that shows. Was quite an op up there. Too much for me. Quite an operation. Gotcha. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about 30 minutes over the mark, so I'm going to go to bed. And I got to get up early and go to work in the morning. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all your help and your contributions and your personage and your questions and your comments and your chats. Keeping it spicy. Thank you. I appreciate you very much, and I love you for it, and I hope you feel the same. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, right here at 8:30, where we'll chit-chat and let our hair down and have a little fun, talk about some stuff and things. Important stuff and things, but not Bible. That'll be Sunday. And then Friday over at rumble.com/UntetheredLive on Friday at 8:30. Join us there, and you get to see some real action. Stuff I can't say here because I'll get banned. Good night. Good evening, everyone. I was listening while racing about. Cheers. Cheers. Keep up the good work, MVTV. And Cowboys 8 Panel. And Lisa Reen. And Margie. And April. And Kevin. And Walter Davis. And Fab Daddy. And everybody else that comes in and about. Have a great night. I love you guys. God bless you all. God be with you. May all your prayers be answered and all your dreams come true. And peace be upon you all. Always have a great night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. And most of all, thanks for watching.